Hey folks, walk with me. The day has come. I am really tired of seeing Americans applauding other Americans that are losing their jobs just because they've been convinced that the random worker at the National Parks Service or a random worker at pick your agency that has gone through it or is going through it is somehow like innately lazy and incapable and is part of the deep state and is just siphoning money off of the American taxpayer. And they are actively applauding people losing their jobs. These are just people in your communities. These are just people who have children to take care of, who have families to feed, rent to pay, car payments to make. Like, these are just people who sought a job, found a job. I mean, you are absolutely disingenuous or willfully completely ignorant if you don't think that there are a lot of incredibly underperforming, what you would consider lazy people in the private sector. You're nuts. And to pin this on these people just because you feel some sort of vindication because they are paid with taxpayer dollars is lunacy to me. Especially because not only do you probably not understand what they do or they don't do, but the people firing them seemingly haven't a clue what these people do or don't do or what's going to be lost in the process of just letting go, droves of people from agencies. That's a topic for a different video, but it is really disheartening to not see people want to reach out, want to try to help people who are losing their jobs, even if they think that that the agency should be shuttered or the workforce should be drastically reduced. This isn't the 8 and 5-year-old siblings whose parents are now out of a job and are introducing immense hardship and suffering into the family. It's not their fault. And to see people just applauding that blindly because they think it's a dunk on someone or something, it just shows how far our sense of community, our sense of obligation to each other has fallen, and how performative much of the, cross-wearing, gold cross-wearing people there are out there who proclaim that they are Christian in some sense. What do you think Christ would be doing in this moment? Laughing at people, going online to try to kick them while they're down? It's really sickening, and you should feel some sense of shame from this. And maybe at some point folks will, but it's the American public has really been turned against each other. And the whole concept used to be that they're trying to start a race war, they're trying to start a class war, something like that. Well, it's here, man. And guess who's starting it? The people who were shouting that decades ago are rooting for the person who's doing that right now. They're rooting for the pain that's inflicted, that's pitting just neighbor against neighbor for reasons that are beyond me, but are probably very much tied to power and money. And so instead of looking at the people who are incessantly seeking power, who are incessantly hoarding money, so that the bottom 99% of people have to struggle, and a big chunk of that have to live in poverty, because there are people hoarding money out there. And so if they can turn you against each other and say, you should laugh at all of these government workers, all these lazy bureaucrats, you should laugh at them losing their job. It's going to save us money. I guarantee you that will not come back to benefit you, Joe Schmo taxpayer, at all. And if you get a one-time payout of $5,000 or something, that's not it. Yeah, it's really disheartening to see that people think that this stuff is not just okay to do, but that they're taking glee and getting joy out of just another middle-class American with a job. Right? All these people complain about folks who don't work. Well, these folks are working. They have been, many of them for decades. And then, without understanding what they do, what knowledge will be lost, what skill set is going to be walking out the door, they're fired. And it's crazy to me that people don't feel some sense of responsibility, or at least empathy for these people, because they're just normal people. And if you think that there's something else, you're really in a very agitated, heightened, paranoid state of mind. You won't believe me if this applies to you, and you probably haven't watched this far anyway, but it's absolutely the case. I feel like, everyone's hearts go out when you see like the farmers who come up against potentially losing their farm because, cost sharing agreements that they had in place or contracts that they had in place were just getting ripped away or threatened to get ripped away. But why that doesn't extend out to the person who fills out the paperwork that helps make sure that you get your fill in the blank, your VA benefits, who fills in the paperwork, who helps ensure that you get your tax refund, whatever it is. I don't love taxes either, but I don't want all of those people. I'm not going to pretend that they're part of some deep state. There's some part of some, that they are the banksters at the top, right? It's like going in and assuming that the bank teller, the person who's helping you deposit your money or cash your check or whatever, that person is in control of interest rates and is getting huge multi-million-dollar salaries and bonuses every year for charging you monthly fees to hold on to your own money, right? That's not the person. And I know it's partly just a symptom of how anxiety-ridden and stressed out and burned out they've made society as a whole. And so there are swaths of people that are just in this heightened, agitated state and are just wanting to oppress that onto others. But I don't know how we get out of this, to be honest. It's pathetic. And it's raining. Fitting weather environment for this video. Alright folks, that's all I got to rant about that. But if you walked along this far or you watched, I really appreciate it. And as always, I will see you in the next video.